Hello guys, welcome to this lesson. We continue with Najdorf with 6 bishop d3, e5 and knight e2. We already have seen a couple of lessons with this position. In this particular lesson we will continue with one of the main options for black. So here we discussed many different move orders. Now we're moving to bishop e7 castle. In the previous lesson we saw the move knight c6, which is a little bit strange and rare. The most logical move, of course, is short castle, which is the main move. But here black has another move order, is to play bishop e6. So I'll try to explain what is the difference. If he goes castle, now we don't want to play f4 because f5 is not a threat, the bishop is not on e6. So he can simply play knight c6. And after the short castle, the theory goes knight g3, bishop e6, and then knight d5. This is the main theory. Because now f4 is not the same, we can't take with knight on f4. So compared to that, if he starts with bishop e6, if we go knight g3, he's actually not going short castle, he'll play knight c6 immediately. And now white has no big options because f4 is not so great now. And also eventually he's threatening d5. So here the position is unclear. So this is actually interesting move order. And now after bishop e6, basically he's provocating us to play the move f4. So we must play f4. I think the standard pawn structure is this one. We already have seen similar stuff, but with the bishop on f8. Now it's a little bit different. We already castled, he played bishop e7. So this is the main position where black goes knight c6. But in this particular case, after bishop e6 f4, he has another option, is to go short castle. Actually, myself, a couple of years ago, I played with black piece against Krishnan Sasikiran. Played in the team Spanish Championship in 2019. And this move order is a little bit provocative because black is provoking the move f5. Of course, here if we go, actually in the game he played a4, which is very similar. Anyway, black needs to take already. And if we go king h1, I think this simply transposed to the main line. Actually, this is my main position, bishop e3. We already have seen similar stuff, but in this case, for example, this is already not so great. Because black is just on time to protect everything. And if knight a4, this is very concrete, but it works for black. Here, in rook e8, the only, but enough move. If he goes knight takes e4, then bishop d3 is unpleasant. Attacking the knight, take here. Obviously he cannot take back because of bishop h7. And this position seems to be very unpleasant with pair of bishops and this weakness. But actually after bishop f4, rook e8 is probably equalizing. If we take, he goes here. Now we have very awkward pieces. Bishop e3, rook d8, queen e5. Eventually he has a nice activity, probably he will return the pawn. Knight c3 is maybe too passive, he can even go b5, b4. I think black is out of danger. So that's why basically here after knight c6 we must go here and this just transposes to the main line. So king h1 is the best, but just transposing. But of course in this particular case we can also try f5. I think it's makes sense. It's not so easy for black, so he must go bishop d7 with the idea to place the bishop on c6 very fast. Because bishop c8 is too slow, we go a4, preventing b5 here. And this is, I think, very bad position, bishop e3. Simply positioning is very bad, this bishop is fantastic. Here and now we have both b3, keeping this bishop, or even bishop b3, we just control this d5 square. Eventually maybe knight h5 might come. Black never has b5 or d5, so the position is extremely passive for black. So that's why he needs to react very fast, he must go here. So now this is different because already black is with 10 piece up. Knight c5 is coming very fast, or d5. The same story is bishop g5, is not clear. Here, black has good counterplay now. Queen c7, the bishop will come to g5, knight maybe here. It's very double-edged position. So that's after bishop d7, the main idea is knight d5. He must take. Bishop c6 looks dangerous. We take here knight g3. Probably there are some other options, for example c4 b5 is not clear. Maybe knight c3 though is interesting. Queen g4 with the idea rook f3, rook h3 looks very promising. But knight g3 looks a bit more logical here. And white is having very nice initiative. The knight comes here, rook f3, rook g3 or h3. It's very dangerous position for black. So that's why after knight d5 he must exchange. And now his bishop on d7 is extremely bad. And we have this fantastic square. So black has only one way to not be completely lost. For example, this is just losing. We take rook f3, f6 is a threat, rook here, or knight to e4. It looks terrible for black. So the only way for black is to exchange immediately these bishops. And now the idea is that if c4, then e4 is enough for equality. Take. For example, in the game Gosman-Sternik played by email correspondence game 2019, white played here, take, and black is more or less fine. He has this fantastic square. Black is out of danger. And if you take immediately, I think black can go here even. Knight c3, rook e8. He has fantastic black square control. And although we're pawn up, I don't think white is better. I think the position is pretty complicated. If he go bishop f4 is similar here, knight d7. And if you take the pawn, it's still enough for equality. I don't think black is worse here. Exchange, then knight 3, attacking everything. So he will return the pawn back. So this is about c4. This is the idea of bishop b5. If we go bishop takes here, b4 maybe queen b3, but I think he would simply giving up this pawn for activity, and black has enough counterplay. Rook d1 here. Maybe rook a5, but even knight e4 is good enough. I think black has enough compensation. We are very passive with this bishop to protect these pawns. So after bishop b5, I think the only way to continue the game is knight c3. And this is extremely strange pawn structure. Black has this weakness here, but white, has this weakness here. But black has some problems with the king. Rook f3 is coming very fast. For example, here, here he must be close with the knight. Rook g3. I think the position is balanced. Probably it's about equal. But black should be a little bit more careful. For example, rook c8 here, rook f1. So now this is always losing because of queen g4. Here, bishop g5. And this point on g7 is very weak. And after rook f1, I think the best defense is here, maybe rook h3. So here probably king g8, and maybe black is holding, but still the position looks very dangerous in a practical game. So this is an option. If he goes castle, this is an option to go f5, or we can simply transpose to the main line by king h1 or even a4. I think it's similar. So let's move to the main move. E takes f4, take knight c6. So this is the main position. So now whatever we play more or less is the same. We can start with king h1 or with a4 or with bishop e3. Everything is similar. I don't like this structure anymore because black is having everything under control. So let's say we start with this move, knight e5. Already is important because if castle already knight take e6. And this is different. We saw the same position with the king on h1. But with the bishop e3 is different because this is not working. This is already winning. Black is just under a big pressure now. And if he goes d5, this is still not enough here. Maybe even queen e2 or queen d3 is advantage, but rook f6 looks very nice. He must take back with the knight because this knight is hanging. And then we have two pawns, fantastic bishops, and definitely big advantage for white. So here basically after bishop e3 we are provoking knight e5. King h1, or we can start with a4 maybe in this particular move order, but let's say we play king h1, castle a4 here, and this position is very standard. I think it's approximately equal, but white has a little bit better chances, it's a little bit easier game. I think it's important to start with this move. If we place the bishop on d4 too early, the difference is that now a5 is met by knight c6. And if we go knight d5 here, actually this was the game Musart, Gasic, Merino played in CGS 2022. I think black played knight c5 or something, but According to engines already, even this is good. Rook f4, knight c5 is a little bit dubious for white. We must take with the knight here. And although we have pair of bishops, black has nice control. I think the game is approximately level. But after rook c8, I prefer to keep this bishop here for now to play e5. So now, anyway, he must go knight fd7. The idea is to bring the bishop to this dial now. Because any other move is suspicious. For example, rook c6, it was played in the game Karyakin-Svidler, played in Lichess 2022. This move is very awkward. The rook doesn't belong to the square. So now the game continued here, rook e8, b3. Probably even good is bishop d4, knight d7, b3, or also h3 immediately. But in the game, Karyakin played b3, which is also good, take. So now better was bishop knight d7, but anyway, after bishop here, going back, here, now we have fantastic control. We blocked this queen side. The knight is extremely good on d5, and definitely white has the better pieces. I mean, black is extremely passive. But in the game, Svidler played even worse. He took with the bishop. So now probably Karyakin could take with the pawn also, with big advantage to keep the knights. What he did is also good. He took with the knight. And this is big advantage because this pawn structure now 4 against 3 is very good for white. Also this bishop is very active and white is under control. So rook c6 is a very awkward move. Knight c4 immediately is also strange. This was seen in the game Nde2 played in London 2023. White took here. If rook c4, then rook, bishop c4, then rook f3, rook g3 is coming next. So he took with the rook, bishop d4, knight d7. In the game, black played queen c8, and now if white could play queen d3, white is just much better. This rook is really doesn't belong to here. Eventually we'll go some rook e1, maybe knight to d5, or queen to g3. We have different options. So probably better is knight d7, but anyway, this position is still very nice. We have very good placed pieces, very nice pawn structure. I think black is only slightly worse, but very, very passive position for black. So I think the best is knight d7 immediately. So now we go bishop g1. Maybe we have other options, but I think this is the most critical and gives black a lot of room to go wrong. If we go knight d5 immediately, then bishop g5. If we go bishop e2, the difference is knight c4, and this is leading to some kind of equal endgame. Probably still a little bit more pleasant for white, but very close to be equal. So the bishop g1 move is very tricky, because now gives black some options and it's not easy what to play. If he plays the bishop here, then knight d5 will be with tempo. If he goes knight c5, then bishop e2 here and knight d5. And now the problem is of course this square. So now definitely black needs to go maybe knight cd7 back, but this is not great. Rook e8, it's very logical, or bishop g5. Maybe bishop g5, it's a little bit more accurate. But now after bishop e2, he has some problems with the pawn on d6. If knight f6, rook a4. It's still a very complex game, but somehow I have the feeling that white has a little bit easier game, because all these pieces you see are a little bit awkward. And it's not very obvious what is black's plan. It's true that white also doesn't have clear plan, but we have many options. We can attack this pawn, we can try to play with knight d5, and black is not clear what to do. So after bishop g1, rook e8 looks logical, just to wait for knight d5 and then to go bishop g5. But here the move I want to suggest is bishop e2, to attack the pawn, and it doesn't give black bishop g5 so easy. So if he goes here, for example, we will simply go knight d5. This is obviously very bad. I think white is just crashing. So after knight d5, he must go here, bishop g5, and now we go here, b4. And still now these pieces are a little bit strange. This knight on c4, it's a little bit under pressure. And still it's approximately equal, but I think still white keeps a little bit better chances, and not so easy how black should continue here. So after rook e8, bishop e2, typical move is h6. I think normally this pawn is not so bad there. But now we go here, and now we have this extra idea to bring the rook maybe not immediately, but eventually we want to bring it. Still not clear when he needs to take, when he needs to go knight c5. It's a little bit awkward position. I think objectively it's fine for black, but still it's a little bit of pressure in my opinion for white. So this about this line, I think is critical line because it's very easy for black. He can go this forever, and whatever move order he makes, this position is very standard. But on the other hand, he's very passive here, and white has some options. So thank you for watching this lesson, guys, and see you in the next ones. Thank you.